All right, welcome back everyone to the Daily BAAS Buzz. My name is Bedzina Mosiashvili, and and today's episode is brought to you by beekeepingservice.ca, where you can get your hives professionally taken care of by an expert, and you get to keep all the honey. Check them out. Well, check us out at beekeepingservice.ca. But now let's go into the first story of today. Swarm update from the Globe and Mail. U.S. warns countries to cut economic ties with Iran or face retaliation. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced a new round of sanctions aimed at Iran Monday and warned every country that does business with the Islamic Republic to sever those financial ties or face retaliation. U.S. President Donald Trump's pledge last week to unleash economic D-Day against Tehran turned out to be new warnings to cut off Iran from the rest of the global economy. Asked why the U.S. was not imposing secondary sanctions on Iran's trading partners, Bessent told reporters he wanted countries to have an opportunity to shift away from Iran before it is too late. Why would I want to blow up the global financial system? Bessent said. The Trump administration is struggling to find an off-ramp nearly 6 months into an unpopular war with an increasingly omniscient Iran, diminishing stockpiles of key weapons appear to be a forced U.S. officials to pivot to economic warfare, though Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said later on Monday that was not ruling out resuming strikes to hit Iran during lull hostilities. Now let's take a video from Scott Bessent.
We've just heard from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent at this lectern right here in the Treasury Department building as he announced a ratcheting up of the economic warfare against Iran. The Treasury Secretary said that the United States is ready to implement a new round of secondary sanctions, not just on Iran, but on any country or entity that does business with Iran. And it could include heavyweights like China, which buys oil from Iran and also interacts with its banking system. So this could set up a high-stakes confrontation with China right before President Trump is expected to meet China's leader Xi Jinping at the end of next month.
Why would I want to blow up the global financial system? We believe that it is important to level set and give people a cure period. But they should know that will move very quickly and that we are serious.
The Treasury Secretary talked about economic asphyxiation of the Iranian regime. This comes as negotiations have sputtered and the war has been inconclusive for more than 6 months. Iran has still bottled up the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 20% of the world's oil flows. That's pushed up oil and gas prices here in the United States. These new economic measures have been promoted as an alternative to military action. The Secretary clearly wants to force other countries to essentially choose sides and decide whether or not to continue to do business with Iran, and if they do, to face American sanctions on banks and on other companies and entities in their territory. Whether this will have the impact the Trump administration wants remains to be seen. Iran has dealt with 5 decades of sanctions from the United States, and they've yet to have the desired effect.
Iran.
Washington had promised new sanctions would put even more pressure on the Iranian economy because already battered by previous penalties and U.S. naval blockades. All right, now on to the next swarm update. U.S. set for the largest mass visa revocation in history, targeting up to 200,000 foreigners, officials say. Brought to you by CTV News, written by the Associated Press. The Trump administration is preparing to revoke the business and tourism visas up to 200,000 foreigners who have applied for or are currently seeking asylum status in the U.S. If it happens, the move would be the largest mass revocation of visas in U.S. history and would likely face a legal challenge. Unless challenged or revised, the State Department is expected to announce in the coming weeks the revocation of so-called B1 and B2 visas issued between 2016 and 2026, whose holders have sought asylum or are now seeking asylum, according to the State Department documents obtained by the Associated Press and two U.S. officials. The actions will be taken in coordination with Department of Homeland Security. We are coordinating with DHS to identify and revoke the non-immigrant visas of foreigners who have come to the United States claiming to be short-term visitors, but then file for asylum to stay here permanently, said State Department spokesman Tommy Pigott. He declined to comment on the number of visas that might be revoked, saying as the process will be ongoing, the number of revocations remains dynamic and will be done on a rolling basis. The revocations would not necessarily result in immediate deportation, the officials said. Most of those who with asylum cases currently pending would be recategorized but lose their status as business or tourism travels, according to officials who spoke on condition of anonymity. Because of the revocations are not final yet. Since President Donald Trump took office for a second term, his administration has steadily ramped up restrictions on visa applicants, demanding more information about their social media histories, requiring of posting of expensive bonds for processing visas, and outright banning of issues of visas to citizens of certain countries. People in the U.S., this is coming from Christopher Lawdew, Deputy Secretary of State. People in the U.S. and all over the world are fed up with bogus asylum claims. Asylum isn't supposed to be a loophole to circumvent immigration laws. Rather, it's supposed to provide safe harbor for persons persecuted because of their race, religion, or nationality. B1 visas are generally issued for business trips, and B2 visas are generally issued for tourism, family visits, or medical care. It was not immediately clear from documents or officials how many of these visa holders are seeking or have sought asylum in the U.S. Current applicants for B1 and B2 visas were asked to affirm that they will not apply for asylum and prove they intended to return to their home countries. Another swarm update brought to you by The Guardian. Lindsay Clancy trial. Psychologist says he doubts claim she was hallucinating. Dr. Kirk Helly-Byrne says he believes Clancy took children's lives so they wouldn't suffer after she killed herself. With just days to go before the murder trial for Lindsay Clancy concludes, a forensic psychologist called by prosecution testified on Monday that he did not believe she was experiencing acute psychosis when she killed her 3 children. Kirk Helly-Byrne, who reportedly performed psychiatric tests on Clancy in April, told the court he had questioned her claims that the hallucinated voices commanded her to commit the act, and that he believed she took their lives so they wouldn't suffer after she killed herself. The way she described this as happening is what she heard. The way she described this as happening is that she heard a voice that she had never heard before, experienced hallucination, and she had never experienced it since. Helly-Byrne said during his testimony, to put it mildly, that would be very, very unusual pattern or manifestation of how this kind of things comes about. Clancy allegedly jumped from second-floor window after the killings, and she is paralyzed from the waist down. Clancy's mental health is central to her defense. Her attorney, Kevin Ridington, is arguing that the Massachusetts mother was suffering from postpartum psychosis, a real mental illness linked to stress, sleep deprivation, and hormonal changes that follow childbirth. When she killed the children in 2023, and she should not have been held criminally responsible. In addition to postpartum psychosis, Reddington has claimed she had bipolar disorder and was over-medicated. Prosecutors say the former labor and delivery nurse planned the killings and contravened to get her husband out of the house by sending him to pick up medicine for one of their children and dinner for the family. Clancy, 36, has pleaded not guilty to murder charges of deaths of Callan, 8 months, Dawson, 3, and Cora Clancy, 5 years old. The trial was expected to head to jury this week, and outcome largely depend on testimony from expert witness. The burden of proof isn't on the prosecution to show Clancy either was not suffering from mental disease or defect, or that she had enough capacity to understand the wrongfulness of the criminal of her conduct. Dr. Phil Resnick, a forensic expert and a psychiatrist in a killing of a child of a parent, testified on Friday that Clancy was clearly psychotic, and on the day she killed her children was not control of her action. It was almost like she was a puppet and someone else was pulling the strings. That echoed another defense witness, psychologist Paul Zielzi, who concluded Clancy had no appreciation for the wrongfulness of her acts. Haley Byrne testified that he concluded Clancy killed her children because she wanted to kill herself but didn't want to leave them behind. One of the things that she said when I asked about what happened is that in the course of strangling each child, she said, "Go to God, baby, go to God." He said that was part of her expectation that she and the children would be together in heaven with God. Haley Byrne also mentioned that Clancy's Catholic faith prompting a request for mistrial from Reddington that Judge William Sullivan denied. Well, there you have it, folks. We will see what closing arguments are expected later this week. If Clancy is acquitted by reason of insanity, she will be admitted to a state psychiatric hospital. If she is found guilty by jury, she will be sentenced to life without parole, and a separate civil case has also been brought by Clancy and her former husband against several mental health care providers, 2 of them whom she visited before the killings also testified during this trial. The case has brought more awareness to postpartum and maternal health care in the U.S., which affects up to 2 women every 1,000 births. Not to kind of get away from the news and have an opinion here, but in my opinion, there is no outcome here that should outrage anyone. If she gets a life sentence without parole, that's horrible, and that's what it seems like the people that are against her want, and the people that are for her, they want her to be acquitted by reason of insanity, which then she will be admitted to a state psychiatric hospital, something that is much worse than a prison, in my opinion. And I don't know, maybe they think that she will be eventually released one day and they could be some sort of silver lining, but at this point there is no going back what happened. There is either it's just suffering from now on, and no matter what people like to say about this, and however the verdict is, it's both of them are just, it's suffering. U.S. Supreme Court clears way for Trump to restrict mail-in voting with executive order. Brought to you by the Globe and Whale. The U.S. Supreme Court opened path on Monday for possible implementation of U.S. Donald Trump's executive order restricting mail-in voting, though it remains unclear how much can be put into place before the fast-approaching midterm election. The decision leaves room for additional court challenges that could further slow Trump's order, and other similar cases have already been filed. The U.S. Postal Service laid out how it would implement the order last week, but time is running short to impose major changes. North Carolina is sending out ballots September 4th overseas to military voters, and other states will quickly follow suit in just a few weeks. The Supreme Court's majority didn't decide the legality of Trump's order, instead the ruling that the states who sued did not have the legal right to challenge it. While the emergency order is not final, it does have the potential to create chaos around voting across the country, with Trump often questioning the integrity of the elections and the nation's highest court against the possible arbiter of political controversy. The court's disposition of this application does not mean that any measure taken by the government to implement the order will necessarily be lawful. On that score, time will tell, the majority wrote in an unassigned order. The three liberal-leaning justices publicly disdained, with Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson writing that the rule lets another shoe drop in the Kafkaesque nightmare that our precedents have been steadily creating for certain plaintiffs who seek to bring election-related challenges. New York Attorney General Letitia James foreshadowed more legal fights ahead, calling the decision a painful setback, but vowing it would not be the final word. The court's order opens a path for administration to begin restrict mail-in voting, but it also could lead to further litigation that could freeze federal government again. By the way, people, nowhere else in the world, I believe, does mail-in voting other than the U.S. Let's actually double check. Google, hey Google, how are you doing? Places.
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm ready to help you with anything you need around the house today. How are things going with you?
Stop it. All right, it doesn't want to answer. Hey Google, how many places in the world allow mail-in voting?
More than 30 countries around the world allow their citizens to use mail-in ballots. While systems vary by nation, at least 11 of those countries, including Canada and the United Kingdom, permit all eligible voters to cast their ballots by mail. Other nations offer this option to limited groups of voters.
Okay, well, yeah, I was wrong. It's 30 nations. Okay, thank you. Dave Becker, a former Justice Department lawyer who co-wrote a book debunking Trump's 2020 election, said the High Court created pure chaos leading up to the midterm elections, waiting weeks after administration filing and just days before the mail-in ballots go out, and to completely rewrite the rules. Wow, incredible. Now, a little climate change related story to you. London is famous for its great trees. More than 70% are risk due to climate change, research finds. Well, that's a very high number. Where'd they get that from? In the middle of a heat wave and severe drought in Britain this summer, Divya Haryamani was pruning a plum tree in South London when she noticed something was wrong with one of the tree's branches. The branch was beginning to split completely from the tree. The workers at the Mitcham Community Orchard told her it was because the fruit tree was stressed. Because of the heat, essentially, like when the trees can't provide enough water to its parts, like some of its parts will just drop, said Haryamani, who documents fruit trees and people who tend to them across the city on social media, called Fruity Walks. Is this just an ad for her account? While London's stone architecture can be more famous to some tourists, the 2,000-year-old city is also renowned for its mature urban forest, which has been called the largest in the world. This year has proved difficult. Normal lush canopy, though of 5 successive heat waves, a serious lack of rain have strained plants and wildlife. Driest July on record. The Kew Gardens Tree Collection and Arboriculture team worked with Greater London Authority to a sample of over 1 million public trees and found that 62% of them have low sustainability climate conditions that could be expected by 2090 without action to reduce emissions. Okay. It's not just a future problem. In 2024, 400 of Kew's 11,000 trees died amid extreme heat and drought conditions. Well, more like Barcelona. With London that's getting warmer than its current trees can handle, botanists are exploring whether they should start planting different trees. For most projections, we're expecting to climate in London 2050 to look more like Barcelona is now. Joe Richoman, a botanical horticulturist at Kew Gardens, told CBC on a recent visit to Kew's Carbon Garden. They're irreplaceable. Paul Wood has written 4 books and 2 maps of the London trees. It's a lot of trees. He's written 4 books and two maps about London trees, which he attributes to growing up and playing in the forests of southern England, and also his name. It's called a nominative determinism, Wood said over the phone in mid-August with chuckle, referring to the idea that people gravitate towards work that suits their name. Really. He, too, has made a career of writing about British capital's storied tree canopy and the cooling and relaxing benefits it brings to residents and visitors. But these days, he worries about what could happen to London's leafy streets. That would be really devastating, Wood said. Noting that it's not just trees history that's valuable, but biodiversity that is important as well. They're irreplaceable. And finally, for Hive Report of the Day, we have Canada to announce retaliatory tariffs as Trump tells his leaders to fall in line. Now let's watch this video from Mark Carney. Let's connect our Bluetooth. All right, Bluetooth does. Oh, there we go.
Intensively and in good faith with the United States for over a year. Canada has worked intensively and in good faith with the United States to negotiate a new comprehensive trade deal. We've been under no illusions. We recognized from the start that America has changed. Canada will match Washington's new tariffs dollar for dollar in order to protect Canadian workers, farmers, families, and businesses. Our response will be concentrated in sectors such as steel, dairy, appliances, agricultural equipment, pulp and paper, electronics. This is a focused response to protect and defend our industries and allow them to compete with U.S. products in the Canadian market. We take this step reluctantly because we recognize that some of these measures will raise costs and reduce choice for Canadians. Reluctantly because we recognize that some U.S. companies and some U.S. states are innocent bystanders in a dispute that they did not want. Reluctantly because this trade dispute is preventing Canada and America from doing so much good that we could do together. But at the same time, we take this step confident that it is in the best interest of Canada.
And there's one thing that I've noticed I've noticed the more places here in Canada where I am in Calgary, Alberta, they've started to adopt Canadian tomatoes, like grown in the greenhouse or whatever. And I tell you, it tastes a lot better. Whatever was being brought up by the U.S. and it was always cheaper, 50 cents cheaper, 24, whatever it was, the store that put tomatoes in your sandwich, in your wraps, whatever, they would buy the cheaper tomato. And the consumer would have to deal with it because you're paying $7 for a sandwich, regardless if it has an expensive tomato or if it has a bad tomato. And it's going to be a discomfort. It's not going to be convenient, but you're going to eat it anyways. But now with this tariff stuff, we've been using a lot of local Canadian tomatoes, and I found the taste has been better. I don't know if that's just a placebo effect or whatever, but I've noticed tomatoes have had a resurgence in Canada.
And that by rejecting a bad deal, by standing up for Canada, by focusing on what we can control, we will build Canada strong for all.
Canada will announce retaliatory tariffs against the United States on Tuesday after relations deteriorated sharply Monday, with President Donald Trump telling Canadian leaders to fall in line or face consequences far worse than the existing tariffs and Prime Minister Mark Carney accusing Washington of trying to subordinate Canada. Trump also threatened a new 50% tariff on Canada's vehicles, auto parts, and steel, while Carney said U.S. trade demands showed Washington wanted to destroy our major industries, including autos, steel, and aluminum. Finance Minister France Philippe Champagne, and 3 other cabinet ministers are scheduled to unveil Canada's response Tuesday morning. Carney said earlier Monday that Canada may need to move away from matching U.S. tariffs dollar for dollar and instead use more targeted relaxation aimed at protecting Canadian workers and businesses. An attitude at negotiating table that Canada is a subsidiary of the United States and is not something we're going to accept, Carney said. Carney was even more blunt in French. We learned during the negotiations that the Americans wanted to destroy our major industries, including auto, steel, and aluminum, Carney said. That was one of the main reasons we said no. It was a bad deal. The fiery words from both sides show how U.S.-Canada relations have deteriorated since Carney walked away from trade negotiations with Trump late Friday, triggering President's threatened 50% tariff the next day about $20 billion worth of Canadian goods. Canada and the United States share one of the world's largest trading relationship with deeply integrated supply chains across auto, energy, agriculture, manufacturing, making a prolonged trade fight potentially costly for businesses and workers on both sides of the border. Carney cast doubt on U.S.'s dependability, saying Canada was finding reliable partners everywhere in the world except in the United States and Russia. Trump unleashes personal attacks on Canadian leaders. On Monday, Trump came back with further tariffs, warning that he would impose them on Canada's auto sector beginning next year. Canada has been ripping off the United States, Trump wrote on social media, criticizing what he called the country's ridiculously high tariffs on American farmers. Well, this is what I'm talking about, right? We get these, we get this really cheap American farm goods come over the border, and it's cheaper and they don't taste as good, but it floods our market, overshadowing our shelf space, and some of the good local stuff just gets overshadowed. Carney said Carney said the Washington's auto sector proposal would gradually have effect on dismantling Canadian production. This is the most successful automotive partnership in history, Carney said, referring to the deeply integrated Canada-U.S. industry. Meanwhile, Ontario Premier Doug Ford unleashed in his own triad in an interview with the Associated Press. He said Trump had underestimated Canadians' willingness to endure economic pain rather than given to U.S. pressure. We're all in, Ford said. Up here, we're at the fever pitch. Everyone's in for an economic war, and they know they're going to have to sacrifice. Trump responded in social media posts by attacking Ford personally, calling him a less charismatic, intelligent, and overall unimpressive brother of the late great Rob Ford, and once again referring to Canada's Prime Minister as Governor Carney. Ford dismissed the insult. If you think an insult from him hurts me, well, bring it on, buddy. I'm ready. Ford is a progressive conservative whose party differs from that of Carney, a liberal, but to underscore broad political unity in Canada over the trade fight with Trump. Ford threatens critical minerals and electricity. Ford said everything is on the table if the dispute worsens, including cutting off electricity and critical minerals from Ontario. Critical minerals are increasingly important to U.S. national security and manufacturing. The Pentagon has sought more secure supplies of minerals used in military aircraft, missiles, munitions, and electronics as Washington reduces reliance on China, which dominates the mining and processing of several strategic imported minerals. Ford said Canada also considered increasingly severe retaliation if Trump continues targeting Canadian industries, including oil, potash, while Ontario could raise electricity prices or stop sending power south. We power 1.5 million homes and businesses, Ford said. Everything's on the table, and I'll do whatever it takes. Ford has used electricity as a leverage before. During the earlier phase of disputes, Ontario imposed a 25% surcharge on electricity exported to Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. Trump responded by threatening to double tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum. before both sides backed away. Auto industry becomes a central battleground. Ford accused Trump of not simply seeking a better trade deal, but aiming to hollow out Canadian industries and move production south. Ford said Trump wants to make Canada a vassal state. He wants to bleed out every single sector and bring them down to the U.S., Ford said. The auto sector is especially important to Ontario, the center of Canada's vehicle manufacturing industry. Plants and suppliers in Ontario are tightly integrated with factories in Michigan and other U.S. states, with parts routinely crossing the border with multiple times during production. Automakers, including Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, operate major assembly plants in Ontario, and the wider supply chain supports tens of thousands of jobs. Trump's new tariffs of 50% tariff on Canadian vehicles and parts put the sector directly at an escalating dispute. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said Monday that the only reason Canada has auto production in the first place was because of the 1960s Auto Pact, under which Canada used access to its market to encourage vehicle production north of the border. I'm not really sure what this, under which Canada used access to its market to encourage vehicle production. Okay. Ford says he imposed preliminary deal. Ford also disclosed that he had opposed preliminary agreement that Carney was considering before Canada walked away from negotiations, and that he was unwilling to restore American liquor to Ontario shelves as part of an agreement. I wasn't going to put booze back on the shelf, Ford said. I was ready to go out there and call a press conference and say, I'm not buckling over. Ford said he understood Washington had sought language late in negotiations and that would have restricted Canada's ability to negotiate trade agreements with other countries without U.S. approval. Carney has called the demand unacceptable and questions of Canadian sovereignty. Carney said that the dispute also exposed a deeper divide over language and culture, saying protections for French and Canadian culture that the Washington views as trade irritants are considered fundamental rights in Canada. Who does he think he said? Ford said of Trump, you gotta be kidding. And here we have some comments. On per capita basis, Canada's economic output per person is roughly $54,000. Compared directly to the U.S. states using this metric, Canada's per economic output rank near the bottom, higher than only Mississippi, lagging behind most U.S. states due to differences in productivity scale, taxation, and industrial sector mix. Wasn't it Trump who signed the trade deal with Canada and he called it the best trade deal of all time? If only MAGA had enough sense to be embarrassed. Vance had made himself a lackey and buffoon, pattering the double talk he tells. Oh, this is not good. You know, tariffs is not good for anyone. It's gonna cost money, but we also have to think about. The part that this isn't about money. This is about getting market share. And what is going to be your market share for the foreseeable future? So it's a back and forth. It's a trade war. It's a tariff war. Just think of it as like a hot war, and there's a border, and you have two countries, going at it, trying to control this one area of the border. They're going to spend more troops than it is necessary to control this area, but it's for the future. They need they cannot allow the other side to control it. So I think what's going on here is with Canada moving away from the U.S. and the getting closer to China, U.S. has pretty much no longer could be in business with Canada, or it would be a national security risk, because we're importing cars from China right now, about 49,000 of them. They will be they will be coming to Canada, and if the auto sector is still buddies with the U.S. auto sector, the Canadian auto sector, and eventually, this China's auto sector and the Canada's auto sector, they will progress naturally because more and more cars will get imported, and eventually we will get what is called a love triangle. That is what we have right now between USA, Canada, and China. We have a love triangle, and USA loves Canada. Canada loves China. China doesn't care about either of them. That's what we got. That is what we got, people. All right, let us now move into the Hives Gone Wild section, and let's see what we got in the Hives Gone Wild. All right. Israeli organized crime figure Yanis was shot dead Sunday. Breaking news. Israeli crime member shot dead. He's walking in. Someone. He knew exactly. He's like, oh, he's coming out now. They're gonna come out. You're gonna stand right there, pretend you're going into the door, pull out the gun. There you go. Israeli organized crime figure Yanis Yosheva was shot dead Sunday. Restaurant and gas station near Sazera. Police reportedly believed he operated with brothers Eli and Matan Abrivin as a part of a criminal network active across several Israeli regions. Skinny Ratchet founds fat peas. That skinny chick seems athletic. She seems athletic, no? Tesla in the back. Oh. Oh. Oh, shit. You got her. Oh, shit. She got her. Why are they both naked? What the hell is going on? Apparently women don't sweat as much as men, so they can't cool down. So is this why they're naked all the time? It's like the waffling. Scariest sound in Ukraine. It's probably on like what the hell are they doing, man? They're just He hungry for fast food. You gonna be a fight in a restaurant? I think maybe. Oh my god. Oh my god. And he literally just pressed his foot on the gas. He's like, oh, I want to go further. Boom. These some people break dancing biker. Whoa. Okay, we don't need to say that. Oh, shit. He's alive. Whoa, he's alive. Jumped up on the fence. Incredible. How did he even hit that? Oh, he just. Oh my god, he hit him here. I hate motorcycles. You're just like literally like just. I hate them. Holy water is good for you. Can someone please explain to me in the comment section what's going on here? Like, how is this acceptable? I don't get it. And how did, like, how is COVID not just like ravaged through? Street punk challenges cops.
Hey, fuck you! I fucking hate you! Let me out, motherfucker! Fuck you out! You're a bitch! All you motherfuckers are bitches! Let me fucking out! Get up. Step up. What happened?
They don't want to get out.
You're a bitch! Fuck you! Get the fuck out! Run these hands. What happened? Not so tough? Not so tough.
We have fake video. All right. Brit pounding Britney. We got some Brits fighting on ring cam. Oh. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It was like he punched him like 14 times there. It's unnecessary, but you know, looks like he had to do it or something. All right. MMA now includes fire. The hell? How did he catch fire? I think there's that weird like WWE that's outdoors. The situation in the Russian army.
Отправили меня этих уёбков искать.
Shoulders
Вот
on
старик,
drugs.
сука. Чмо, блядь. На, сука, тебе, блядь, нахуй. Вон и этот, нахуй, стоит, сука, беспилотники ловит, нахуй. Гандон, блядь, сука, на тебе, блядь.
Create like a black translator. The black people are better and smarter, and we work harder.
Excuse me, ma'am. We want to know, what do you come around this area for? Like, did you give anything out to our community, to the George Floyd? We just want to know. Well, like,
people besides Floyd, it's about children. It's innocent.
Derek Chauvin, you know what? You kind of look like him. You do look like him. You look like, are you trans?
I'm
Are you just a regular chick? I'm sorry. Somebody did some fucked up ass procedure to you. But Derek Chauvin, murdered George Floyd on the fucking ground for 8 minutes and some chance in front of the whole fucking world. And we got more white people that stood with it other than you. I'm sorry, were you molested as a kid? Did your father fuck you or something? Because for you to act like that and to come up here and talk about Derek Chauvin, that you let that fucking slide you. Dumb bitch. Get off this block. Take your shit and get the fuck off this block. Go to the park. Go to the park. But you ain't coming past this bitch. Not about Big Rock, as she is. Big Auntie, a.k.a. Big Auntie. Now what? You look like a man. Look at you. Look, yo. Zoom in at the toes, yo. Zoom in at these motherfucking feet. That shit look like fingers. E.T. phone home. She's racist. Get her. Get the fuck off our block. We don't need you today. We might need you tomorrow, bitch. You better not. Yes, I am. And I'm proud of my race. And you know what it means? You know what it means to be racist? It means you're proud of your fucking race. Black people are better, smarter, and we work harder, we're stronger than you. Nigga. And stop mixing and fucking with our black men. Leave the black dick alone. I bet you want a big black dick because your white men got dicks like this. Shut up, because you don't even got no fucking lips to suck dick. Bitch, I wouldn't even want you sucking my strap on dick. Pink Punisher don't even want you. Let's get this bitch out of here. We out of here. Get the fuck
This
out
is
of
just
here.
insanity. You know, like, what the hell's going on here?
From the overflow of the heart
You better not
speaks
come back
now.
this way. You better not come back. What you say? What you
Okay,
say?
so
What
She's trying to assault?
What you say? Oh, take it. Bitch off.
smash you in the face.
I wish you would. Bitch off.
Smash.
Bitch, get your motherfucking hand out of here. What you want? What? What's up, bitch? I'll wail up on your ass. That's it because
I'm ready to leave.
I fucking won't leave. Leave now before I get the wailing on
You
you.
start walking off.
Leave, yeah.
You make
Bitch, leave. Leave now. Go.
I have to walk backwards.
Go. Walk backwards then. You better leave. Walk. I ain't gonna hit
No,
you.
you need to step back.
Watch that fucking
Step
finger, bitch.
No,
I'm
step
gonna
back.
do this. This is what black people got. This ain't Adolf Hitler shit. This black people shit. Under my head, bitch, is where you will kneel. Get the fuck up out of here. Go.
No,
Walk backwards.
don't walk back.
I won't walk back. I'm gonna be
You go
calm.
back too.
Walk back.
This is the state of America right now.
Get up out of here.
Don't hold her hand.
Get up out of here. I ain't gonna hit you. What you scared of? I'm giving
So
you.
why are you doing
I'm a woman of my word. Walk off. You got me peacefully.
You're talking
I'm
about
gonna be a woman of my word.
I don't know what happened, but female thug assaults white woman simply standing on the sidewalk. That's all.
5 seconds. 1, 2,
it takes a while.
3, 4, 5. Like I said, get the fuck up out of here. Let's go.
Was she like
Got me,
pro?
cuz? You recorded all that shit. The rock the body entertainment is hard. And I have my white girl coming to hold my back.
And like, and then you got this fucking her smiling. She's proud of it. This is the equivalent of a house Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus, or whatever. This is the white version of Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus. The race traitor right here. Get a good look at her, people.
Motherfucker out of here.
She's the one that enables this behavior.
I'm a white girl
People
coming
like her
on my
is
back.
who enable this type of behavior. Like, just look at this.
Crazy. Black people are better, smart.
How is
and I
this?
need you tomorrow,
How is?
bitch.
Look at
You
what she
better not.
says.
Yes, I am. And I'm proud of my race. And you know what it means?
She says,
You know what it means to be racist?
She's-
It means you're proud of your fucking race. Black people are better, smarter, and we work harder, we're stronger than you.
There you have it, people. There you have it. There you have it. Woman arrested after refusing to pay a restaurant.
3 years in jail. You came here. That's 3 years in jail. You didn't pay for your 3 years in jail. You ate all this food. That's 3 years in jail. $55. That's 3 years in jail for your meal. You're acting hard for 3 years in jail. What are you talking about? Just pay for your food and we won't have a problem. I don't know why my car's not working. I have to figure it out. But we can't just let you walk out the door. Do you understand? You have to pay for the service. Okay.
And she gets arrested. No, that's what happened. Oh, it's Canada. Yeah, in Canada.
What's that shit on the internet? What's that shit on the internet? You're waving your
Oh, does she have her dog with her?
That's 3 years in jail. You came here. That's 3 years in jail. You didn't pay for your service. 3 years in jail. You ate all. Why are you videotaping? Put that shit on the internet. Put that shit on the internet. You're making your feel like go see my dog. Why are you
Poor dog. This guy just kicks the dog. Oh my god, man, he's just fucking retarded. New York love story. David divorced twice in one train ride.
Wow. No, you're fucking wild. You're fucking out of your wild, really? You know what? Give me my bag. No, you don't. You know, but you fucking stop. I can't. Go to fucking rehab. I can't see it. It's on you. No, it's not mine. My fucking fault. Yo, fucking stop now. Yo, we're done. We're done. We're fucking done. You're getting all over the young girl. We're done. We're done. Fuck off my back. Come on, man.
Oh, well, that's, I don't know why I needed to watch that through fully. Cocky Pakistani gets humiliated short selling. Gonna lose a lot of money or something. Concentrate. Candlestick. Trading candlesticks. What's gonna happen? Whoa. Oh my god, it went up. He was thinking it was gonna go down. Well, that's what happens. This little girl thinks she can drive.
Jesus Christ, what are you doing in my car? I can
I heard this video is fake or something, someone was telling. It just gives it a little gas.
Jesus Christ, what are you doing in my car?
It's a good way to make a viral video, I guess. Wild fight breaks out outside taco shop in San Diego. Freaking hippopotamus, dude. These freaking hippopotamus, they're just like just roaming the streets. Can someone get them a freaking enclosure? Put them in their enclosure. Oh my god, look at that. And then you got male and female hippos. They're just like fucking pushing each other, and you got these, essentially, they're not police anymore. These people are park rangers people. They're zookeepers. These police, they are no longer police. They are zookeepers. Oh, and then look, now we got a skinny guy on a big guy for some reason. And then we got a girl in cheetah print attacking. I think this is the beginning of the video. There's that hippo guy. He got a hands of a smaller hippo, and then we got a big hippo in the back, a female hippo. And then we're gonna get the big, gigantic one coming here soon. There she is. I didn't know that was not her. She's somewhere else. There she is. She's saying that I don't. She's saying that's her right there. That's the big one. Wow. There you have it, folks. All right, let's see what we got. We're almost at the end here. We gotta wrap it up. WNBA players are screaming at end skater freedom for wearing pro-woman shirt.
Chicago staying in it. Natasha Cloud.
So I think Natasha Cloud is...
Before the break, this was the scene inside Wintrust Arena after Natasha Cloud got that bucket. She wanted her voice heard. We have talked about the conversations surrounding the W.
I think Natasha
Enos Cantor in the building.
Cloud is a transgender basketball player.
Voicing her opinion as well. Cantor was just exploded out.
No, never mind. Cloud was born in... Natasha was raised... where did it is trans? I thought she was trans for him. Oh, she's bisexual and biracial.
6-point basketball.
And the WNBA wants to put in transgender women in or something, or to there.
And right before the break, this was
woman, an adult human.
Arena. After Natasha Cloud got that bucket, she wanted her voice heard.
Well,
we have talked about the conversations surrounding the W.
So it's funny here. You got this girl coming up here. She's gonna high five him or something.
We have talked about the conversations surrounding the W. That is Enos Cantor in the building today. And he has voiced how he's felt about the situation. Natasha Cloud voicing her opinion as well.
All right. All right, folks. Let's see what we got. Police officer murdered in his own home. Beefing over females causing these dudes' lives. Plane crash in the water of coast Florida. Let's see this. Whoa. Plane crash in the water of the coast Florida. Whoa. Holy shit. Look at that. It just hits the water. Damn. I don't really see much. Oh, there we go. Hopefully they're all right. Looks like they rescued the people. Looks like the people are all right. Incredible. Really? All right, now it is our final segment of the day. And we will be talking about the B story of the day. And what do we got? Let's let it load here. Verify. Planting for pollinators. A conversation project in Cumbria, Bry, England. Planting for Pollinators project receives award from DFRNA. Planting for Pollinators, a joint project between Westmoreland and Furness Council and Cumbria Wildlife Trust, has been awarded the Bees Needs Award, championed by Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. The awards recognize and celebrate examples of exceptional initiatives undertaken to support pollinators. Since the project in 2023, 22 sites have begun their transformation to species-rich lowland meadow of pollinator-friendly community gardens. From these 22 sites, a total of 42 hectares of pollinator-friendly habitats have been created across Westmoreland and Furness, supporting local pollinator pollinations and transforming our green space into nature-rich spaces for residents to enjoy. Over the last 3 years, Cumbria Wildlife Trust has been instrumental in supporting the project through delivery of program community-later pollinator-themed events and training. Over the last 10 years, we've seen worrying downtrends of wild pollinator numbers across UK. Well-loved insects such as butterflies, bumblebees, and hoverflies have declined up to 34%. This follows a continued years of declines over the last century. Nature reserves are simply not enough to help support these species alone. Often we can feel powerless and unsure of what we can do to help. This joint project aimed to address this right from the very start by providing opportunity and know-how to do something positive for pollinators on your doorstep. In collaboration with Westmoreland and Furness Council, we've been able to work closely with communities and groups and schools across this area to provide them with opportunity and skills needed to establish and manage natural wildlife-rich habitats in their local green spaces. I'm delighted to say that over 700 people have been directly taken action to help support pollinators, creating habitats that are lifeline, providing much-needed pollen, nectar, and larvae food plants for insects in the heart of our village and towns across the Westmoreland and Furness. We are absolutely thrilled to receive this award, says the person who said this, says the council. Well, there you have it, folks. This is more you can do for your pollinators. So what did they exactly do? So it doesn't really exactly say. They just created rich. So they transferred rich species lowland meadows into or pollinator community friendlies from these 22 sites, total of 4.2 hectares. So they just planted en masse these wild plants. Well, that's a nice positive way to end off today. There you have it, folks. It has been your Daily BAAS Buzz, and this has been Bedzina Mosiashvili. This is your one episode for the week. I will be back next week at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.